Good afternoon, this is Jason Ridge with Ridge Reviews. Today we're going to take a look at my new daily driver. For those who may have seen my quick update video that I posted a few days ago, I mentioned that I had gotten rid of my 2024 GMC Sierra 1500 and purchased a new car. And I said at the time, it's going to require some explanation. How I go from a GMC Sierra full-size truck to what I'm going to talk about today, which is a 2025 Subaru Outback Onyx XT Edition. Very excited to talk about it, so before I ramble on too long, let's get into it. So to start off, this is the 2025 Subaru Outback. I guess it's an XT Onyx Edition, not an Onyx XT Edition. That basically means that it has the blacked out package on it. That's the Onyx part of that. So you see the black wheels, the black badging, some of the other cladding around the doors, and the other kind of highlight areas, which are black as well. There's also kind of a black underbody piece, which normally is more of a metal or aluminum looking piece that we don't have on this one. But I like this. I got it actually in this color in this setup just because I felt that it was a little more masculine looking, for the lack of a better description. If I was going to go from a big truck that I had before to a wagon, and I'm sorry, it's not an SUV, it's a wagon, I was going to need something that looked a little more rugged, that looked a little more manly, and this certainly kind of fit that bill. I actually really like the look of the car. I know that this is the last year of this body style. Between 2025 and 2026, they are coming out with a new one that has a new and updated look to it. I know they're calling the new one an SUV, but just like this one, I still believe that it's a wagon. I think it serves Subaru well. It's a good-looking car. It's rugged. It looks outdoorsy. And that's one of the reasons, again, or another one of the reasons that I chose this over some other things. I like the look of it. I think it's rugged looking. Its ground clearance is pretty good. I added these Wild Peak AT Trail tires to it to give it a little more rugged look. But overall, I think it's a pretty nice car. Taking a moment and jumping into the driver's side. Again, all soft touch materials. Door, beautiful. Everything looks really nice. I like the stitching. The contrasting kind of green stitching here is interesting. That is unique to the Onyx and Wilderness editions. I think that has that as well. You see that as we kind of continue and sit down in the car. Kind of the same thing in here. Let me shut this door and get that green stitching. Some of the other controls and things that are in here for your hood and dimming. Nice Subaru steering wheel, kind of standard to all the Subarus. Big screen in the middle. Shift console in the middle. Pretty simple. Again, USB-A and USB-C ports in there. Same kind of request. Gosh, I wish they had more. Interesting enough, they have a speaker plug or a headset plug. Interesting. I don't know who's going to plug their headsets in while they drive. They shouldn't. But at least it's there. So looking at the gauges, it's very standard Subaru. It's been the same way for the last couple of years. I know in the 2026 edition they're changing it, so this all becomes a screen. But there's still something traditional, I guess, nice about having a screen, not having a screen, and just having a very simple gauge setup in the car. Looking over into the center, you got the big Subaru infotainment system. If there's any complaint I have, it's just that this is slow. It's really a dog. I mean, it moves fine. It's reacting fine as I'm kind of sliding around on screen. But as you start getting into and changing controls and moving things around, it can slow down quite a bit like it is there. It's thinking. Oh, it's still thinking. It's getting into different stations. If I want to go back, it can just be a little bit slow. Not terrible, not unusable. Certainly something that you can work with. Again, looking across at the passenger side, and I'll jump in over there, but a nice shelf to store things, nice big glove box. Again, soft touch materials, nice rearview mirror, controls. and a very nice sunroof overhead to let the sunshine in. Opening up the passenger side door and taking a quick look here, you can see one of the things that really is appealing about this to me, well, and honestly about any vehicle that I purchase, is what I'm getting for what I'm paying. So value for the money that I'm spending. One thing you immediately notice with this is just the quality of the interior. This is not leather. It has some interesting name that Subaru gives it. I don't remember exactly what it is. But it is a very, very nice interior. The quality of it, the stitching, everything is soft touch. If you come in here and you look at the dashboard, this is all soft touch. Sorry for the shadow. This is all soft touch. 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 Everything in here is literally, other than that little part is hard touch. But everything in here is soft touch. It just gives a really nice feel to the car. Looking at the door, this whole panel, everything in here, soft touch, soft touch, soft touch, soft touch, and then some hard plastic down here. But even at that, it's not cheap hard plastic. It has a nice kind of quality feel to it. When you shut the doors, it's a nice solid feel. Taking a quick look and sitting inside the vehicle, I am a little over 6'1", and I have plenty of legroom. There's probably 2 or 3 inches between the seat. The seat is actually back pretty far, so my passenger has plenty of room. So if I was sitting in this vehicle and I had other people with me, I'd probably move this up a little bit, but no problem with legroom in the car. These seats actually have a little adjustment that allow them to be tipped back a little bit, which is nice. And then headroom, plenty. Again, at 6'1", it's a very comfortable place to be back here. Looking at some of the controls in the back of the car, you've got the vents, which is very nice. Then you have the heated rear seats. That's a great option. Then you also have the USB ports, both USB-A and USB-C, for those passengers who want to plug in. If I had to have a nit or complaint, I just wish there were more of them. If I have 2 passengers who have USB-C phones, they're going to be fighting over that plug. I don't know how many people still really need USB-A. It's not out there that widely, but hey, I can't fault them for at least trying. Then in the center in the back here, nice center armrest. It folds down. Again, soft touch material, very comfortable for your arm. Nice cup holders, everything folds up nicely and tucks away. And again, plenty of room. Very, very comfortable place to be in the back of this Subaru Outback. So we're going to take a look under the hood here of the Onyx XT. One thing to kind of keep in mind, and I'm sorry I have to read this, otherwise I'll forget. This one has a 2.4 liter flat 4 boxer motor in it. It produces 260 horsepower and 277 foot-pounds of torque. One of the reasons I chose the XT specifically was for the power. I used to have, about 10 years ago, another Outback, but it had the 180 horsepower, 176 foot-pounds of torque motor in it. So, I mean, from a torque standpoint, you're looking at more than 100 foot-pounds of torque more in the turbo version, and you're looking at 80 horsepower more. To me, that was worth the expense. I mean, that's a pretty significant difference, and I'll get into some of the driving characteristics and how that affects the overall drive, but I think it's definitely worth it. So taking a quick look under the hood, again, this is a 2.4 liter boxer motor. It's turbocharged, single turbocharger. I know a lot of people will look at it and say, well, why did you buy the turbo edition? Doesn't that affect the overall reliability of the vehicle? Aren't you concerned? And honestly, I'm not. And there's not a whole lot going on under here. You look at some of the more modern vehicles out there, some of the other turbo vehicles, there are literally tubes, wires, things everywhere. This is pretty simple as a motor goes. Everything is very easy to find. Your fluids are all, your battery, power steering. Want to find your oil filter? Oh, it's right there. I can change it without a problem. It's just very, very easy. Again, single turbocharger. It's kind of, I believe, mounted towards the lower part of the motor. You don't really hear it when you're driving. The intercooler is mounted right on top. Kind of connects to the scoop, which brings in air to keep everything nice and cool. But so far, it's been fantastic. And again, probably fairly easy to maintain. I've gone through videos and watched. I know that I could change the oil in this vehicle myself in about 10 or 15 minutes if I wanted to do it myself. Just a quick note for those who might be watching this who have this particular vehicle, and you might be wondering, hey, I have a prop rod on my hood. He doesn't have a prop rod on his hood. He has hydraulic struts. These were an upgrade that I added. I can put a post online that shows where you get them. But they are nice because they are no drill. So if you're worried about having to drill, which a lot of them you do, I didn't want to drill. I don't want to screw up my hood. I don't want to drill into the hood. So these are great. They provide just a great easy lift. And I don't like having the prop rod. It does lift the hood slightly higher. It's probably about 6 inches higher than you'd normally have. But it worked great. Coming around back and taking a look, there is a good amount of storage room back here. I have my little travel case that I carry in the back. Actually got that on Amazon. I'll post a link for those who may want it. But it's very convenient for putting all of your stuff in so it's not flying around. But plenty of room back here. Very nice auto-opening hatch. Plenty of room though. I've actually carried a whole lot of stuff in here. I know it looks really nice and clean. I've carried everything from camping gear to sod and dirt and plants. Very easy to clean off. You know, I bought the Subaru kind of cladding that's back here, as well as there's some on the back of the seat itself. But really provides for a good space, a good amount of space and good protection back here. There is a shield, kind of a sun shield that you can pull out and pull across if you're concerned about things being out in the sun or concerned about people looking in your car. Alright, so we're going to set off for a quick drive in this 2025 Subaru Outback XT Onyx Edition. And I'll tell you a little bit about the things I like about it, why I purchased it, why it was my choice. Again, coming from the GMC Sierra 1500 elevation. A big part of that was after going through all of the problems I had with the GMC Sierra, I really, really wanted something that was just reliable. I just had it. I hadn't gone through in the last video all of the story, but I spent some 6 months at least going back and forth with the dealership, with GM Corporate, you know, arguing about all the things going on, all the issues, being told, oh, there are no issues, and being told, oh, there are issues, being told they were fixed, and then being told they weren't going to fix them. So there were just a lot of back and forth, and finally just had it, and really wanted to look at something that would just be reliable and simple. If you remember, and you've seen some of my other videos, and going in the way back machine, actually not so far back, which is really sad, I had a 2024 Toyota Tacoma TRD off-road, and I'd actually looked at buying another Toyota Tacoma. I'd gone out and looked at the new TRD off-roads, but honestly, I don't know. They've become, I mean, mid-sized trucks in general have just become so incredibly expensive. I guess everything's become incredibly expensive, but mid-sized truck market in particular was just nuts. And even with discounts to get a fairly well-configured Toyota Tacoma TRD off-road, I was looking at, you know, in and around, maybe if I got a great deal, 52, 53. I know depending upon your market and where you are, you know, sometimes you can get them for a little bit less. But that's what I was looking at where I am. And that is just, that's ridiculous money. I mean, unless you're independently wealthy, that's a lot to spend on a mid-sized truck. And the jury is really still out on the reliability of that particular truck. You know, we'll have to kind of see how that continues to develop. I know there have been some transmission issues and other things that we've seen in other reviews. So I kind of went back to what I know. Like I said, I've had an Outback in the past. I had a 2016. It was incredibly reliable, no problems at all. And if you haven't driven a Subaru Outback before or had experience with it, what I would say is it's just a simple car. You know, it requires kind of nothing. You know, it just kind of fades into your day. It fades into your drive. It's very comfortable. The seats are comfortable. The seat and driving position is comfortable. It just is simple. It didn't really require anything to think about buying it. I ended up paying about $38 for this. They sticker for around $41, so you can get some great deals out there. And again, getting back to what I mentioned in the beginning of this video, kind of value for your money, what you get for what you're paying. For me to get let's just take any mid-size truck out there and say that I'm going to get a mid-size truck, Canyon, Colorado, Tacoma, whatever, that's out there, Ford Ranger, and I'm going to get it with leather or a leather-like interior, soft-touch interior, leather-wrapped steering wheel, big infotainment system, rugged enough to be and do very well off-road, sunroof, and then there are even features they don't have. This car has road-following headlights, so as I turn the steering wheel, the headlights follow where I'm turning. And there are just a lot of kind of creature comforts, a lot of options that you just don't get on some of those vehicles. And in the areas where you can get them, it is so expensive. So, looking at spending, let's just say $52, $53, somewhere in that range, no matter really kind of what one of those trucks you're looking at, comparing that to spending $38, again, I get a lot more in the Subaru Outback than I'm going to get in those trucks. And this has almost as much horsepower as the new turbocharged 4-cylinder Toyota Tacoma. I'd have to look at the weights to compare exactly, but the power to weight ratio actually might be in my favor a little bit within the Outback. Yes, it doesn't have crawl control like the Tacoma does, but let's be honest, 98% of us who buy these vehicles aren't going to go rock crawling. We're not going to go drive this up the side of a mountain. I know I love watching these videos online of reviewers doing that. It's very cool. I kind of feel motivated after watching the videos, thinking, I want to go do that. That looks cool. I want to drive my truck up the side of rocks. And that's amazing. I want that capability in my truck. But really, at the end of the day, that'll probably never happen in my entire life. What will happen is that I need a vehicle that is very capable, able to be driven off-road, on trails, in the snow, in the rain, in more rugged conditions where their X mode is absolutely fantastic for off-road. And there are other videos that you can watch that go through all the off-road reviews, so I won't try to do that here. But overall, I think that it is a great car, a great choice, and made choosing it actually quite simple. Now, I know there are a lot of people out there who are going to look at this and say, well, what about the CVT? It's got that CVT transmission. Sure, you've got the horsepower and you've got the turbocharged motor, but it's connected to a CVT, continuously variable transmission. Doesn't that sound terrible? And I think with CVTs, most people have I was going to say love-hate relationship, but that would be probably too complimentary of a description. I'm going to say it's kind of a tolerate-hate relationship with it. I don't find it to be that bad. I don't know that that's a ringing endorsement. I just think that it's fine. Does it drone? Sure, all CVTs do. What that just means is that the engine kind of drones. Now you step on the gas and it gets to 2,000, 2,200 RPM and just kind of stays there all the way up through as it accelerates. So there's a little bit of that drone to it, but it's not a big deal to me. And when I compare it to some of the vehicles I've come from, when you're looking at the vehicles that have the 8 and 10-speed transmissions where, honestly, I guess the argument is, hey, with all these gears, there's always the right gear at the right speed. But when you're driving, as I am now, just kind of commuting around through town, there's just a lot of shifting. You're shifting up, down, all the time, start, stop, and it's just like, it's kind of maddening. after a while, and it makes for somewhat of an uncomfortable drive, and you don't necessarily think of it. And then a lot of the transmissions these days are very smooth, but I don't know, there's something nice as I've just been driving here and talking to you about this car and this choice. The CVT just goes. It's not shifting, it's just there in the background, and it just kind of fades in. And I think that's what you see a lot with the Subaru and the Subaru Outback in particular. It just kind of fades in. It does a lot of things well. It does really nothing poorly, but it's not, I don't know, is it memorable? I'm trying to think of a right way to describe it. It's just good, I feel good when I drive it. It's simple. I don't have to think about anything. I don't have to worry about it. Nothing really frustrates me. There's nothing that's really annoying. It's just there. It kind of fades into my day, and I think that's a big compliment for this kind of a car. I know some people will ask about, I've seen some reviews talk about the turbocharged engine connected to a CVT. And I think from my experience, I have a little over 5,000 miles on this car now. From my experience, connecting a CVT to a turbocharged four-cylinder is probably not the best experience. I mean, it works fine, it's smooth, but anytime I need to really accelerate, and if I need to get on it, so to speak, and get on the freeway quickly and accelerate quickly, and I've never had to have this to the floor. It's got plenty of power and plenty of get up and go, but when I do get on it, what I notice is it seems like the CVT is confused. It's confused with, what the hell's going on here? I've got this turbocharger that's suddenly boosting up my power. Do I downshift? Do I upshift? I don't really know what to do. So you kind of feel it, I want to say hunting for gears because it's continuously variable, so technically it's not really hunting for gears, but it's kind of hunting for gears. It's kind of like it doesn't know exactly what to do. Should it shift up? Should it shift down? And it creates for a somewhat jerky experience under heavy acceleration. Again, maybe that's 3% of the time that you're driving the car, so I don't really ever notice it, but it is something worth noting. So again, some of the bottom line points here in that kind of comparison or explanation, I guess, of why I chose the Subaru Outback XT over a Toyota Tacoma or another truck. And again, it's that value for what you're getting. I am able to do everything in this Outback that I would want to do in a Toyota Tacoma, for example. The biggest difference is one costs $52 at a minimum, and this one costs $38. So I'm looking at what's that, $14,000 difference in price at a minimum. And again, I'd probably argue that the Toyota Tacoma, to get it configured to an equivalent configuration to the Outback, you're probably looking at $56 to $58. So you may be looking at almost a $20,000 difference in price. So, and again, for me, I can do everything in this Outback that I would do in the Tacoma. Again, I'm not rock crawling. I'm not hardcore off-roading. I don't need the suspension articulation. I don't need a detachable sway bar. Those are for people who are really intense into off-roading. They sound really cool. Crawl mode, rock crawling, sounds amazing. I had that in my Tacoma. Did I ever use it? No. Would I have ever used it? No. Did I like having it? Yeah, because it sounded cool. But again, I didn't need it. So looking at the value of what you're getting, I think the value argument for the Outback, it definitely wins that argument every single time. From a rugged vehicle, reliability, off-roadability. Again, off-roadability from what 98% of us do, I think it wins every time. I actually think that the superiority of this vehicle is pretty apparent when you get into rain, mud, snow, and the X mode and the symmetrical all-wheel drive system that this car has. I actually think is quite a bit superior to the Tacoma TRD Off-Road, where you're driving in two-wheel drive most of the time. Then you switch into four-wheel drive. I don't know, for those types of conditions, to me, all-wheel drive is a better option. I know people will have different opinions, but for me, again, my opinion, I think the all-wheel drive is a better option in that case, so I would choose the Outback every time. That's not to say I don't like the Tacoma, the TRD Off-Road. I think it's a cool truck. I think a lot of the mid-size trucks are very cool. I've looked at the GMC Canyon AT4. I've looked at the Chevy Colorado ZR2, even the Trail Boss. I'd say Trail Boss, just again trying to get something that from a price point is at least a little closer to the Subaru Outback. But again, the value question there of what you pay and what you get so much more and so much more for your money. And I would argue you get more capability than any of those outside of maybe the ZR2, because you have the front and rear locking differentials. But again, do you need that? Do I need a front locking differential to drive up to go skiing? Probably not. Do I need it to drive over rocks and drive up the side of a hill? Yeah, but I'm not going to be doing that. So again, I think the Outback makes a very strong value argument. And in this particular case, those are all the reasons I chose it. I hope that you enjoyed this review and my kind of ramblings of why I got this car and what I think about it. I think it is an excellent choice for anybody who's looking for a rugged, outdoor, off-road, or off-roadable vehicle, something that is going to be reliable, that's well built, that's going to give you a ton for your money, is not going to break the bank, that looks good, and is just super comfortable. And like I said, it's going to fade into your day. You're not going to have to think about it all the time. You're not going to have to worry about it. You just kind of drive it. And after a while, you don't think about it all the time. I found when I drove other cars or other trucks, I was always thinking about it, like what it drove like, or how it shifted, or what, little things that kind of annoyed me. There's nothing that annoys me about this. Even the CVT, it doesn't really annoy me. I pointed out and talked about a couple of things, but again, it all just kind of fades. And that is, I think, actually a pretty huge compliment for a car. If it can just fade into your life and fade into your lifestyle and just be a normal, natural part of your life, then that's a good thing. So again, thanks for watching. As always, if you like these videos and you like the reviews, click the like button below. Until next time, I hope you have a great week, and we'll talk again soon.